You know, there's nothing quite like waking up after a good night's sleep feeling refreshed and ready to take on the day. But if you're like a lot of folks over 70, you might find that restful sleep doesn't come as easily as it used to. Maybe you're waking up in the middle of the night, struggling to fall asleep, or just not feeling as rested in the morning as you'd like. Well, here's the good news: getting better sleep isn't as hard as you might think. In fact, with just a few simple adjustments, you can start sleeping more soundly and waking up with more energy than you've had in years. Now, you might be wondering, why does sleep matter so much after 70? Well, as we get older, our bodies change, and so do our sleep patterns. Deep, restorative sleep helps keep our minds sharp, our moods balanced, and even supports our immune system. But when we don't get enough quality sleep, it can leave us feeling foggy, sluggish, and even affect our long-term health. That's why today, we're going to talk about 5 simple, practical tips to help you sleep better, starting tonight. Now, let's begin with the first tip, and this one might surprise you. It's all about light. You see, our bodies are designed to follow the sun. When it gets dark outside, our brains release melatonin. That's the hormone that tells us it's time to wind down and sleep. But here's the problem: in today's world, we're surrounded by artificial light, TVs, phones, tablets, even bright indoor lighting, and that tricks our brains into thinking it's still daytime. So if you're scrolling through your phone or watching TV right before bed, your brain isn't getting the signal that it's time to sleep. The fix? Start dimming the lights about an hour before bedtime. Swap out bright overhead lights for softer lamps, or even better, use warm, amber-toned bulbs. And if you're using your phone or tablet, try turning on the night mode feature to reduce blue light. Even small changes like these can make a big difference in helping your body prepare for sleep naturally. Now, the second tip is all about routine, and this one is especially important as we get older. Our bodies love predictability. When we go to bed and wake up at the same time every day, yes, even on weekends, we train our internal clock to know exactly when it's time to sleep and when it's time to wake up. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but what if I'm not tired at my usual bedtime? That's okay. The key is consistency. Even if you don't fall asleep right away, sticking to a regular schedule helps reinforce your body's natural rhythm. And here's a little bonus tip: try adding a relaxing pre-bed routine. Maybe it's sipping a warm cup of caffeine-free tea, reading a book, or doing some gentle stretches. The goal is to signal to your brain that it's time to shift into sleep mode. Over time, these small habits can make falling asleep feel effortless. Now, before we move on to the next tip, let's talk about something that might be keeping you up at night without you even realizing it: temperature. Did you know that our body temperature naturally drops when we sleep? That's why you might find yourself kicking off the blankets in the middle of the night. But if your room is too warm, or too cold, it can disrupt that process and make it harder to stay asleep. The ideal sleeping temperature is around 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, cool enough to help your body relax, but not so cold that you're shivering. If you don't have a thermostat, try adjusting your bedding. Light layers are better than one heavy blanket. And if you tend to get cold feet, I know I do, a pair of cozy socks can work wonders. It's amazing how something as simple as the right room temperature can transform your sleep. Now, we've covered 3 key tips so far: reducing light before bed, sticking to a sleep schedule, and keeping your bedroom cool. But there are 2 more game-changing habits we'll talk about next, including one that has to do with what you eat and drink. So stay tuned, because these next tips might just be the missing pieces to your best night's sleep in years. So, we've already talked about how light, routine, and temperature can make a world of difference in how well you sleep. But now, let's talk about something that might be affecting your rest more than you realize: what you eat and drink, especially in the evening. Now, I'm not here to tell you to give up your favorite foods. Believe me, I enjoy a good dessert as much as anyone. But what we consume in the hours before bed can either help us drift off peacefully or leave us tossing and turning. Let's start with the big one: caffeine. You probably already know that coffee can keep you awake, but did you know that caffeine can linger in your system for 6 hours or more? That means if you have a cup at 4 p.m., it could still be affecting you at 10 p.m. And it's not just coffee, tea, soda, and even chocolate contain caffeine. Now, if you love your afternoon cup of tea like I do, try switching to a caffeine-free herbal blend after lunch. Chamomile or peppermint are great options, they're soothing and won't interfere with your sleep. Now, I know a glass of wine in the evening can feel relaxing, and at first, it might even help you fall asleep. But here's the catch: alcohol actually disrupts your sleep cycle later in the night. You might wake up more often or find yourself restless in the early morning hours. If you enjoy a drink, try having it earlier in the evening, say, with dinner, and then switch to water or herbal tea as bedtime gets closer. And let's not forget about heavy meals. Eating a big dinner right before bed can make your body work hard to digest when it should be winding down. Instead, try having your largest meal earlier in the day and opt for something lighter in the evening, maybe a warm bowl of soup or a small plate of whole grains and veggies. Your stomach, and your sleep, will thank you. Now, let's move on to our fifth and final tip, and this one is all about movement. You might think that the key to better sleep is just about what you do at night, but what you do during the day matters just as much. Regular physical activity helps you fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer. And no, I'm not talking about running a marathon. Simple, gentle movement is all it takes. A daily walk, some light stretching, or even chair exercises can make a big difference. The key is consistency. Try to get at least 20 to 30 minutes of movement most days. And here's a pro tip: morning or afternoon exercise is best. If you work out too close to bedtime, it might actually energize you instead of helping you wind down. Now, if you're thinking, but what if I have aches and pains that make exercise difficult? Don't worry. Even small movements count. Something as simple as stretching your arms and legs while sitting in your favorite chair or doing slow, deep breathing exercises can help relax your body and prepare it for sleep. So, let's quickly recap what we've covered so far. We've talked about managing light, sticking to a sleep schedule, keeping your bedroom cool, watching what you eat and drink in the evening, and staying active during the day. These 5 habits work together to create the perfect recipe for restful sleep, and the best part is, you don't have to do them all perfectly. Even just picking 1 or 2 to start with can make a noticeable difference. But before we wrap up, I want to share one last thought, because sometimes, even when we do everything right, sleep can still be elusive. And that's okay. If you've had trouble sleeping for a while, be patient with yourself. Changes take time. Maybe tonight, you'll try dimming the lights earlier, or perhaps you'll swap your evening coffee for a cup of chamomile tea. Small steps lead to big improvements. And remember, you're not alone in this. So many people your age are working on the same thing, and every little bit of progress counts. Now, in the next part, we'll talk about what to do when you still can't sleep, those nights when you're wide awake at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling. I'll share some calming techniques and mindset shifts that can help you relax, even when sleep feels out of reach. You know, even when we follow all the best advice about sleep, there are still those nights, we've all had them, where you find yourself wide awake at 2 a.m., watching the clock tick away. Your mind starts racing, your body feels restless, and the harder you try to sleep, the more it slips away. If this sounds familiar, don't worry. Tonight, I want to share some gentle but powerful ways to handle those wakeful moments, so you can find your way back to peaceful sleep. First, let's talk about what not to do when you can't sleep, because sometimes, our instincts work against us. Have you ever lain in bed, frustrated, thinking, if I don't fall asleep right now, I'll be exhausted tomorrow? That worry alone can keep you awake. Or maybe you've reached for your phone to pass the time, only to find the bright screen makes you even more alert. These reactions are completely normal, but they tend to make the problem worse. So, here's a better approach: if you've been lying awake for more than 20 minutes, get up. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but staying in bed while you're frustrated trains your brain to associate your bed with wakefulness instead of sleep. Instead, go to another room, keep the lights dim, and do something quiet and calming. Maybe read a book, a real one, not an e-reader, or try a simple breathing exercise. The key is to avoid anything stimulating: no news, no chores, no problem solving. When you start to feel drowsy again, then return to bed. One of my favorite tools for those restless nights is something called 4-7-8 breathing. It's simple: breathe in quietly through your nose for 4 seconds, hold your breath for 7 seconds, then exhale slowly through your mouth for 8 seconds. Repeat this 3 or 4 times. This technique activates your body's relaxation response, slowing your heart rate and signaling that it's safe to rest. It's like a lullaby for your nervous system. Another helpful strategy is to give your mind a gentle distraction. Instead of focusing on trying to sleep, which can feel like pressure, try this: picture yourself in a peaceful place, somewhere you felt completely relaxed. Maybe it's a beach at sunset, a cozy cabin in the woods, or even your childhood backyard. Imagine the details, the sounds, the smells, the warmth. This kind of mental mini-vacation can ease you away from anxious thoughts and into sleep before you even realize it. Now, if you've been struggling with sleep for a long time, you might have started to dread bedtime altogether. That's completely understandable. But here's something important to remember: sleep isn't a performance. You don't have to succeed at it. In fact, the more you can let go of the pressure, the easier it becomes. Think of it this way: your job isn't to force sleep, it's simply to create the right conditions for sleep, then trust your body to do the rest. Let's take a moment to recap everything we've covered. We started by setting the stage for better sleep, dimming lights, keeping a regular schedule, and making sure your bedroom is cool and comfortable. Then we talked about the role of food, drink, and gentle movement during the day. And now, you've got a toolkit for those nights when sleep just won't come: getting up instead of lying frustrated, using calming breaths, and guiding your mind to peaceful places. But here's the most important thing I want you to take away: small changes really do add up. You don't have to do everything perfectly. Maybe this week, you'll focus on one or two of these tips, say, cutting off caffeine after lunch and trying the 4-7-8 breathing at bedtime. Next week, you might add in a daily walk or adjust your nighttime routine. Step by step, you'll start noticing the difference. I'd love to hear how it's going for you. Drop a comment below and tell me, which of these tips are you excited to try? Or maybe you've already discovered something that helps you sleep better. Share it so others can learn from your experience too. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more simple, practical advice to help you thrive in your 70s, 80s, and beyond. Remember, good sleep isn't just about feeling rested tomorrow, it's about giving your body and mind the deep nourishment they need to enjoy all the moments that matter. So tonight, as you prepare for bed, know that you're taking care of your future self in one of the most powerful ways possible. Here's to your health, your happiness, and many peaceful nights ahead. Sweet dreams.